Hello and welcome to Little Likac podcast, and this is episode 52. I didn't double check. Oh my goodness, it's something I usually do, is try and double check what number it is before I start recording, and I completely forgot this morning. Never mind. It is Monday the 1st of May 2023. My name is Amanda and I live in Derby in the UK, and this is a knitting and crochet podcast. So welcome to my little world. I have got a couple of finished objects, maybe only one finished object to show you. I feel like I've done more, but anyway, I've definitely got one big finished object to show you. I've got new cast on, some acquisitions, and also I went out with some friends on Saturday and we took part in the Great British Yarn Crawl and went and visited 3 yarn shops in our local area. So I'm going to tell you all about those. And I have got a little bit of footage from those as well that I will put on while I'm talking about it. So, on with the show. You can find me on Ravelry as Likac66, and there is a podcast group in the forums on Ravelry for the podcast. You can find me on Instagram as Little Likac Yarn, and you can email me if you want to at littlelikac@gmail.com. So you may notice my lovely ladies here are all changed into summer outfits. So I've just got them changed into some little different clothes. These were dolls that I made for my girls, my daughters, when they were much younger. And it's quite interesting actually, because as I was putting these dresses and things on them, these little dungarees, it just reminded me of this doll is actually based on one of my daughters. I made this when she was 9, and her hair was very much like this. She had dark hair, but she had some like natural highlight bits. But yeah, these little dungarees, I used some acrylic that I had made her a hooded jumper out of when she was, I don't know, about 7 or 8. And this one was based on my eldest daughter, and this dress again was made from some yarn that I had made her a tunic, I think, from. So yes, some of the yarns that I used to make clothes for them were leftovers from clothes that I had made for the girls. So lots of memories in those, dolls and their clothes. So what am I wearing today? If you are new to the podcast, you may not have seen this before, but if you are a regular viewer, you will have seen this before. This is my Here Comes the Sun sweater. I made this last year before going to Yarndale at the end of September. I bought all the yarn for it when we were on holiday in Italy. When I first bought the yarn, I wasn't 100% sure what I was going to make with it. And then I went back, I chose this pattern and then went back to the shop and got a couple of other balls just to put different colours in. So the pattern is called Here Comes the Sun. I cannot remember the name of the designer, but I will put it down below. And it's made in sport weight yarn. I've made this in 100% merino, and I made it in an Italian yarn. I bought it in a shop in Italy. So this jumper, again, memories. It's funny, isn't it, actually, how knitting, crochet, craft items can hold so many memories. I have the memories of buying the yarn and the shop and the holiday of buying the yarn, but I also then have the memory of knitting it for going to Yarndale. Decided I wanted to wear this when we were in Yarndale, so I have the memory of wearing it there for the first time. So yeah, it can hold a lot of memories, can't it? The buying of the yarn, the making of the item. I have some items that I can remember quite specifically being in particular places while I was working on it, because I knit wherever I go. I take knitting with me wherever I am, and so sometimes, yeah, an item can hold a memory of where you were knitting, which is something else that has just reminded me. So this dress, this yarn, this peachy corally yarn, I've just remembered I was knitting that tunic on a holiday in Tenerife, and I can remember finishing the tunic and then my daughter wearing it a couple of evenings later, and another holiday maker actually commenting on it saying, well, is that what you were knitting? And I thought, yeah. So yeah, lots of memories attached to it. Anyway, so that's what I'm wearing today. Here comes the sun. I love it. It is a sort of cropped sweater. I'm just wearing jogging pants, so I'm not going to stand up and show you anything, although it has got the design at the bottom down here and the rib. Anyway, so I do love this sweater. Just wondering if I've got it on back to front. No, I don't think I have. No, I haven't. So it is Bank Holiday Monday. That's why I'm not at work today. And I have had a busy weekend. I've had a busy couple of weeks since I last saw you. I have done quite a lot of dyeing again because I have 2 yarn shows that I'm going to be going to the next 2 weekends, which is really exciting. But I think what's kind of been worrying about that is it's 2 yarn shows back to back, weekend to weekend, and I will not have any time in between those 2 weekends to dye anything. So I've had to make sure I've dyed loads of stock, which I have. I'm taking double the stock with me. My first yarn show that I did was a year ago at Wool at J13, and I looked back and I'm taking more than double what I took there. So hopefully I should be okay. So yeah, the 2 yarn shows that I'm exhibiting at in the next 2 weeks. The first one is next weekend, which will be the Coronation Bank Holiday weekend. It's on the Sunday and Monday, so it's like the 7th and 8th of May, and that's Buxton Wool Gathering. And then the following weekend, the Saturday and Sunday, so it's like the 13th and 14th of May, is Wool at J13. That's the name of the show. And it's at Bishton Hall in Staffordshire, which is a new venue for it. So I am really excited. My main concern at the moment is that I haven't got enough space on my stand for everything that I've dyed. But yeah, so look out for that. I'm definitely going to do some filming. Excuse me. I might film a little bit of setting up and the stand. I'll put some stuff out on Instagram probably. But hopefully I'll record a few bits at the show that I can put into the next podcast. But the next podcast might be 3 weeks away rather than 2 weeks away. Alright, so April. Last time I saw you, I had finished this big blanket, and I've just kind of kept on working on some of my whips. I haven't finished any socks in April. I did finished and made 2 pairs of socks in January, February and March. So I've done 6 pairs of socks by the end of March this year. And then in April I haven't finished any. And in fact I haven't worked on socks very much in April. So need to get back into that in May. I will show you what I have done. But this is a bit rambly. Let's start with the one item I have definitely finished since I last saw you. And that is the Anthology throw. It is not blocked, but it is off the needles. I'm sure it's got the bits there which have got all the ends that they still need sewing in. So it definitely needs blocking because you can see it has got quite a pretty edging, but you can't see that pretty edging yet. So it definitely needs blocking. Plus I need to pull it all out, and it will grow a lot. So last time you saw this I was on this section I think. So I've done all the edging. The Anthology throw, you may have seen this on many other podcasters' podcasts, channels, because it's a really popular design. It's designed by Helen Stewart, who is a designer I really like. She tends to design quite soft, feminine, pretty designs, and I guess that's my sort of style. So I like a lot of her designs. You'll see in a minute there's something else I've cast on by her. So what can I say? It was released, I think, at the beginning of December, maybe November even. It might have been November in 2022 as part of, yes, it was part of her Advent knit along that she always does. And it's designed for minis, so it's designed for scraps, or it's designed for about 20 gram minis. So you could use it as an Advent project, you could just use it as a scrappy project. And I cast this on Christmas Eve, and yeah, obviously worked on it slowly over the last 4 months or so, but it is beautiful. It needs blocking. In theory you can wear it as a shawl, but my intention was never to have it as a shawl. My intention was to have it more as a throw over my lap, over my knees, but in theory you could have it as a shawl. It does look quite nice like that, quite snuggly, doesn't it? I might leave it down here as something that I can throw on my lap when I'm working on the computer, throw around my shoulders, because it's just lightweight, because it's all in 4-ply fingering weight yarn. But yes, so it does need blocking, which I will do, and the end sewing in. Some of the ends though I did weave in as I go, but I still like to just fasten them off a little bit. So I really love it. The yarns I use is a real mixture. There are some of my own that are minis. There are some, so my own hand dyed, because I kind of run a little mini hand dyed business. So some of my own hand dyed, some of my own hand dyed scraps, and then some are just scraps and leftovers from other projects, and some are minis that I bought from other people. So it's a real mixture. Again though, some of those yarns hold some memories, so that's nice. So that's my, I think, my only finished object. I keep saying I think because I thought I had finished something else, but I can't remember what. Oh well, whatever it is, if I don't show it to you today, I'll show you next time. So works in progress. So as I said, I've not really had my sock mojo. I had cast on these socks last time you saw me, which was the warm milk socks, which is for the housemate socks. Some socks I'm knitting for my daughter's housemates. And last time you saw it, it was here. So you can see I've only done about another inch. Kind of lost my mojo for socks at the moment. We'll get back into it. I think also I wasn't sure that I liked how it was working with this yarn in this pattern, but I am actually quite happy with it now. So it's the warm milk socks, which is by Penny Baker, and the yarn that I'm using, the pink one, is by Rosie's Moments, and it's called Glow, and so this white bit glows in the dark, and then it's with a very dark grey, and the dark grey yarn, don't know if I've got the ticket. No, ticket? Label even. I think it's Valley Yarns. It's Valley Yarns. Anyway, so the Progress Keeper is one that I got in my advent. I got a Christmas advent of Progress Keepers and stitch markers from Chapel View. I was going to say Chapel View Yarns, but clearly it's not. Chapel View Crafts. And she does really cute stitch markers, Progress Keepers. So I am just going to move that. I do also need to put a beginning of row marker on as well, because I keep forgetting that I've started a new round and messing up the pattern. So I'm just going to put, that's too boring, hang on a second. I have some stitch markers over here somewhere. What have we got? Just whatever comes up first. It's a cactus, I think that is. So I'm just going to pop that in as well, so that I actually remember to double check what I should be doing on each round. So yes, I'm a little bit behind on my sock knitting, but that's okay. I said that I'd have them finished by the end of June, all 6 pairs for the housemates. But I also said, well, they'll be finishing the year then anyway. So if they're not, as long as they're ready for September, when they will move back into their house in September, we'll be fine. So only a very little bit of progress on those socks. Another pair of socks that I have done some work on as well. This is the pair that I had cast on, and I leave these in my car. So when I go anywhere in my car and I end up waiting somewhere, so maybe in a waiting room somewhere, or I go for coffee somewhere, I've got some knitting with me. So this is a pair of stripy socks, and the yarn that I'm using is West Yorkshire Spinners. No idea where I got up to last time you saw these, because I didn't put a Progress Keeper in. I'm just about ready really now. Surely that's enough for my leg. I need to do the heel. So I'm doing the heel in Sprite Pink. I do have the labels in here for this. The stripy one is colourway either 6 or 999, couldn't decide. No, it's going to be it's going to be 999. Or is it 550533? Do you know what? I'm just going to hold it up there and you can take your pick. Those are the 3 numbers. So it's either 999 or 0533, depending on which one's the sort code. Or what are you talking about, Amanda? Depending on which one's the dye lot and which one's the yarn colour, the shade. That's the stripy one anyway, I do know that much. This lovely bag I bought from Nibbles, Needles and Hooks shop, the lovely Liz, and her shop is in Lower Pilsley in Derbyshire. Went there a few weeks ago. So that came with, well, it didn't come with, I also bought a needle holder as well. I just feel like my words just get so mixed up these days. So yes, that colourway goes with that. And then this one is 234. And the reason I now think this is definitely 234, oh, I don't know, 234 or 663. There we go. And it's West Yorkshire Spinners Signature 4-ply in this pink. Using this for heels, toes and cuffs for these socks, and then I probably will knit a full pair of socks, or yeah, full pair of socks with the leftover. Why is this such hard work today? Come on, Amanda, get your brain into gear. I feel like I do this every time. So yes, they need to go back in the car and I will just keep working on those a little bit at a time. They have no deadline, they just get worked on when I am at places. I keep getting notifications coming through from my phone. Right. I think those are most of the works in progress that I have worked on, because I then decided that I wanted to cast on a shawl to take to the yarn shows with me to as a bit of a sample for some of the yarns that I've got. And I was going to do another quiet time shawl, which I talked about last month, and I was going through my shawl patterns and I came across this one which I had bought a while ago, and I thought, oh, actually I really would like to knit that. So this is the Silver River shawl pattern by Helen Stewart, and it's nearly finished. So I've worked on this, not monogamously, because I don't work on anything monogamously, but I've worked on this quite a lot over the last couple of weeks to make sure I get it finished in time. I started it 2 weeks ago tomorrow, and I've got 10% left to do. So this is the Silver River shawl, and I've knitted it in 2 of my colours, 2 of my yarns. Knitted it in the Titania colourway, which is this very pinky lilac, and that's in my luxury 4-ply, which is 85% merino, 15% nylon. But I've also contrasted it with this dark purple. This is called Purplicious, and this is actually 100% blue faced Leicester, again 4-ply fingering weight. And I've got a few of these in the shop, and it just hasn't sold. I mean, I don't think it's the colour, because everybody loves this purple, and I don't know if it's just because it's blue faced Leicester where that sort of put people off. So I thought, well, I'll knit something using it and just have it as a sample. So the pattern is, with the darker purple, your contrasting colour, these are short rowed, so you can see it's almost like wedges. And then you've got kind of a little slightly textured pattern for the other stripes. So the dark purple's all garter stitch, and then you get this textured pattern in between. I absolutely love it. I should have put it on a longer needle to show you. I have one section left to do, one more section of dark purple, which is about 12 rows, and then the cast off. And then I will block it, hopefully, and take it with me next weekend. It's absolutely beautiful. I love it. I have dyed up some, there's one skein of Titania left in the Etsy shop, but I have dyed some more skeins to take with me to the show that I haven't put on the shop yet. So yeah, absolutely love that. I will wear it. I will definitely wear it, definitely use it, but also it's a nice little sample piece to do, and it's been a quick knit. What I like also about Helen Stewart patterns is that she puts percentages on the pattern, so when you get to a certain section, you know you've completed 10%, 20%, etc. And that's really helped me because I've made sure, you know, that I've done a minimum of 5% each time I've worked on it. And I know that I've got about 10% left to do. And so I should get that finished, and then I'm hoping to finish it today potentially. And then I can get it blocked, ready to take with me to the show. Really, really lovely pattern. It is a paid for pattern, might be £5 or £6 pattern. But Helen Stewart patterns are so well written and literally row by row, and I use Knit Companion, so I can just tick it off on there. I don't print the patterns off because it'd be about 12 pages I think to print off. I just use Knit Companion, which is an app, and then I can just tick them off as I go. Right, so that needs finishing, and as I say, may get finished today. I also realised it's that time of year where my year 11s, I'm a teacher, secondary school teacher, and my year 11s will be starting their first exams in just a couple of weeks. And last year I made my year 11 class, I gave them all a little gift, crocheted gift, and I thought I was going to do that again. And I told myself last year that I would make these gifts all the way through the year so I wouldn't be rushing to do it last minute. Did that happen? I think we all know the answer. So I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to do the same as I did last year, which were just these little crocheted worry worms. And I thought, but last year I gave them to them when they were halfway through their exams. This time my hope is that I'm going to be able to give them to them the day before their first English exam. So I've got to do, I can't remember how many exactly students in the class I've got, maybe about 26, 27. So I've started them, I haven't got any faces yet. But basically, the little crochet pattern, there's a free pattern for this, and they will have a little face on them, and then they'll have a little toggle there, and they'll go on a key ring for them. And they're a little worry worm, and I put a little poem, and maybe a few sweets as well for them, all into a little bag and give them to them. So I've started working on those because it is that time of year. It was not long before they will be starting their first exams. And I'm just using leftover scraps of acrylic, using a 3mm crochet hook, DK acrylic, and I think when I've weighed it before, they take about roughly 3.5, 4 grams of acrylic for each one. Is that all I have worked on? It probably is, because obviously I finished the Anthology throw and that was quite a big task. Yeah, the last rounds of the Anthology throw you have 1,150 stitches, and then when you do the cast off you're doing quite a loose cast off, so you work into each stitch twice. So the cast off is, what's that make it, 3,300 stitches? No, 2,200 stitches. You're multiplying by 2, not 3. 2,300, there we are, we got there. 2,300 stitches. Still a lot, may as well have been 3,000. 2,300 stitches to cast off, 2,304 to be precise. Anyway, so yeah, that took quite a lot of time, and then obviously I've got most of that shawl done as well. So I suppose, you know, it's been 2 weeks since the last podcast, so yeah, I just feel like sure I've got something else to show you, but anyway, what I have got to show you is some new acquisitions. Where should we start? Well, we'll do it in order. So firstly, Attic 24, the lovely Lucy, has a blog called Attic 24 and a website, and she creates the most beautiful crochet patterns, and I think all of her patterns are free. If you go onto her website, it's a bit clunky, it's a little bit old-fashioned. For somebody like me who's been using the internet for years and years and years, to me that website, although it's maybe a bit slow, you know, that's how websites always used to be. I know some people, younger people than me, kind of go, oh, I find it really difficult to work. But anyway, so all of her patterns are online. You don't download them, or if you, maybe that's a paid for option. If you want to download it as a PDF, maybe you can do that as a paid for option. Anyway, I think her designs usually are relatively simple designs, but what makes her designs so stunning is she is a master at colour choice. And she had a new pattern that came out in January, and when I was exhibiting at Nibbles, Needles and Hooks at the middle of March, I saw a lady working on a blanket, and it was just beautiful. So I said, oh, what blanket is that? Is it an Attic 24? She said, yes, it's the new one, the Spring Frost one. So I went onto the website and I just loved it. I just thought it was so pretty. Well, I mean, I loved it in person. But you couldn't get the packs, so you can buy the full complete yarn pack through Wool Warehouse. But they didn't have any in stock, and that'll be because Stylecraft Special DK has got some supply issues with certain colours at the moment because of the earthquake that happened in Turkey, because Stylecraft's processing and all their factories are in Turkey. So I thought what I would try to do is, when I was visiting different yarn shops, I would just try to pick up 100 gram balls of acrylic in roughly the right sort of colours and do it myself. Anyway, I must have clicked on something on Wool Warehouse saying, email me when this comes back in stock. No, I didn't. I'm lying. No, I didn't. I was on Facebook, and somebody else who had done that said the Spring Frost blanket packs are back in stock, and so I went on Wool Warehouse and bought one. So it came with this, so you can see the colours. I'm assuming, I don't know, but I'm assuming the pattern will also give you the pattern to do these flowers if you want to attach those onto the blanket as well. Don't know if I will or won't. Those are the colours. So those are the colourways. There's 15? Yeah, 15 100 gram balls. It was about £32, which maybe gives you a slight discount if you bought them than if you bought them separately, but it also just means that you have got everything all in one go. Here it is. So there's the full pack. As we know, I do have 2 blankets that are now finished, but I'm still not going to allow myself to cast that on until I finish the Stitch on Sunday blanket. So not casting that on yet. She'll put the card in with the wool so I know what it's for, and put the wool away. Or the yarn, because it's acrylic. I shall put it away, and I will not be starting on that until I have finished the Stitch on Sunday blanket. And that's a present for my parents-in-law, so I really want to get that finished so I can gift it to them. But isn't it beautiful? Absolutely beautiful. Okay, and more acquisitions. So, the Great British Yarn Crawl. This is an event being run by the UK Hand Knitting Association from the 15th of April to 30th of June. And any shops that are part of the UK Hand Knitting Association can take part in this, the Great British Yarn Crawl. And the idea is that you visit at least 2 different shops to qualify to enter the prize draw. You need to collect 6 stamps on your card on 6 different visits before the 30th of June. And then on your 6th visit, your yarn shop enters you with a chance to win an amazing prize. Going to be honest and say, chances of winning a prize are probably going to be pretty slim. But I thought it sounded fun, it sounded like an excuse to go and look at some yarn shops that I've not been to before, and some that I have been to. So I said to a couple of friends, do you want to fancy joining me? And then we talked to our knit group about it, so in the end 7 of us went on Saturday. I have got some photos and some bits of video. Some of the video I filmed, some of the video was filmed by my friends. So some of it is landscape, some of it is portrait, because it was filmed by different people. So we went to, so I live in Derby. There was nobody in actual Derby that is on the UK hand knitting shops site. So we went to Long Eaton first. So we went to a shop called Button Moon. Now I had been to that shop at that location a couple of times before when it had different owners, and it's all a bit complicated, but so I knew where it was and I knew it was quite a big shop, and I'd seen them, I follow them on Facebook. So this is a really honest review. We turned up, 4 of us to begin with. Yes, there were 4 of us that got there, and we went in and we were all a bit giddy and a bit silly because we were like, oh, we're doing the yarn crawl. And we went in and we started to look around, and I started to take some video, and I was going to ask her if I was okay to film, but excuse me, but the lady was busy with another customer, but I thought, oh, I'll take some and just check in a minute. And I said to her, I said, oh, we've come on the yarn crawl. And she went, oh, okay. I said, you know, the yarn crawl, and she said, oh yeah, I've heard about that. And at that point, I didn't realise she was the owner. I just thought maybe she worked there. And I said, yeah. I said, this is our first shop. We're hoping to get our cards. And she said, oh no, I'm sorry, I haven't got any of that. And now I had this card because I'd got it from one of my magazines. I think it might be a crochet magazine. It'd come with all the sort of junk bits that you get with the, you know, all the adverts and flyers and stuff. So I said, oh, it's like this. She said, yeah, no, I haven't got any of those. I went, oh, but I said, you are taking part in it, aren't you? She said, well, I don't really know. And I said, well, you're on the website. And I'm going to be honest and say the attitude was a little bit disappointing. There were 4 of us, all quite excited. And she was just like, oh, my husband deals with that. And we went, well, we've come here to get the cards and the stamps. And I sort of said, well, could we maybe get a business card from you or something to show that we've been here? And she was like, oh yeah, okay. And at no point did she offer to try and find out anything. I had to show her. I said, look, you're here on the website. It says on the website you are taking part in this. And she was like, oh, I don't know anything about it. And it really put her down. I said, well, we've got 3 other people coming in a minute as well. We've come specifically. And I think, okay, she didn't know anything about it, but I think what was so disappointing then was her reaction was, it seemed to us, I don't know anything about it and I don't really care. And that was so disappointing. So some of the people I was with actually chose at that point not to buy anything from there. I did still, and I'll explain why. One, I still think it is important to support local yarn shops, although, yeah, and also the shop itself was nice, and I was looking for something specific. So I have a few people I know having babies in the next few months, and I wanted to knit some baby stuff, and I thought I'd look through my patterns. I have got lots of baby knitting patterns, but I looked through and I just didn't feel inspired by anything. And so I had decided we were going to 3 shops potentially, and I've got 3 people who are having babies. So I had decided potentially I was going to try and pick up 3 little baby projects. So because I had no idea what the next 2 shops we were going to go to was like, I thought, well, I don't want to say I'm not going to buy anything from here in case we go to the next couple of shops and we have the same situation, or they're rubbish and they don't have much choice, whereas this shop had loads of choice. So I did still buy, and I will show you what I bought. One of the people I know is having a baby girl, and so I picked this pattern. Isn't it adorable? And I picked this yarn, and it is Stylecraft. It's a Stylecraft Bambino DK. So this one is shade 1238 Ragdoll, and you can see it will knit up like that. And this one is shade 3944 Vintage Pink. So my plan is to put these together, and actually what they had done in the shop was very clever. They had put together variegated yarns like this with a plain solid where they go together nicely, and I saw those and I really liked them together. And so my plan is to do the main skirt, the main dress in the print, in the sort of the stripes, but then do the frills and the straps and the ribbing in the solid. So I'm hoping that that will look really pretty. So it's cute, isn't it? So cute. And I'll have plenty of extra spares. There's a spare left over which can go into other blankets. So that was what I bought from there, and I did get some little buttons as well. Well, oh, I also got cute little buttons that will go with it as well. So that's what I bought from the first shop. But we all felt a little bit disappointed. I'm going to email the UK Hand Knitting Association because we didn't get a stamp. I mean, she did sign it and she didn't know what her shop number was or anything. So yeah, we felt a bit flat. But then we went to a coffee shop and we had some lunch and some cake and had a bit of a chat, and we phoned the next two shops we were going to at that point and checked, and those, as soon as we spoke to them and said, I take part in the Great British Yarn Corps, they were like, yeah, absolutely, yeah, I've got the cards, got the stamps, come along. So that was much better. We felt much happier about that. So one of my friends, Sue, she had bought with her a couple of patterns. She bought maybe half a dozen patterns that she was going to consider getting yarn for. Not all of them, but so she'd got a choice of things to look for. And one of the patterns that she had got, I really liked. I said, oh, what's that from? And she cuts out the patterns from magazines when she gets them, so that she throws away the magazines because she's not a hoarder like me. And she said it's from the Knitter, and I looked and it was Knitter issue 154. And I had a look on my Ravelry page because I try to keep track of what magazines I've got, and so I haven't got that issue. And I said, oh, I might see if I can get hold of a back copy. Anyway, when we were looking at the websites for the next two shops we were going to, the next one, it said that they had books and magazines, including back issues of the Knitter magazine. So when we got there, I said, I don't suppose, have you got issue 154? And she looked on her computer, and yes, she had. So the next one we went to was called the Yarn Loft, and it is in Carlton Road, I think, in Nottingham. It's in Sherwood, part of Nottingham. Oh my goodness, this was a beautiful shop. She had much more high-end, I would say, yarns, in respect that she had like fibre spates, Malabrigo, lots of Rowan, but she did also have some bits of Serdar and some bits of I want to say maybe even something like King Cole. She had a very small amount of sort of cheap acrylic-y baby type yarns. But it was a beautiful shop, really lovely, much smaller than the first one we went to, but we squeezed in, all 7 of us, and took over the shop. She was really friendly, really lovely, really welcoming. Gave everybody else then got their cards set up and started. She also does a loyalty card as well. You get a stamp every £10 you spend. So yes, I picked this up and I'll show you the pattern. The pattern that I am planning, there's a few patterns in here actually that I like as well, so I was really pleased because there's definitely, I can't find the right page number now. There's definitely more than one pattern in here that I like. I'm not going to say that there's definitely more than one pattern that I'm definitely going to knit, but it didn't feel like I was only buying it for one pattern. Here we go. It's called Bowie. And it's in lace weight yarn, and she did have West Yorkshire Spinners lace yarn, and I started looking, and then I suddenly remembered some lace weight yarn that I keep talking about using, and I double checked with my Ravelry queue and my Ravelry page how many meters I've got. So actually I have got the yarn for this, which will be my fibre spates that I'm going to use. So I bought this magazine at the Yarn Loft, but again I also thought, right, I will also look for baby patterns, baby yarn. And I saw this book, Special Knits for Babies by Martin Storey. And Martin Storey is a designer that I really like. Used to be a Rowan designer, probably still designs for Rowan. And I flicked through this book and saw quite a lot of patterns that I liked. Nice little cardigan there. So I looked through and I thought, yeah, this pattern book has got quite a lot of patterns that I like. Nice little ribbed vest top. And I thought I can see myself potentially knitting a few things out here. And I really liked that, the Whisper vest. So one of my colleagues is having a little boy. And this was used, the Rowan Merino DK. I thought I want to make sure I'm getting something that is machine washable. So I actually did get Rowan, but I got Rowan cotton, Rowan Summer Light DK, which I think is 100% cotton. Yeah, 100% cotton. Colourway is 459. It's kind of like a teal colour. And I just thought that would be lovely. I'm probably going to do size 3 to 6 months. So that's another project. And my colleague is leaving at the end, well, before the end of term, but I've got till probably beginning, middle of July to get that done for her. So I bought that from the Yarn Loft. Is that all I bought from there? Yes, it was. And then we moved on to our third and final shop, which was knitworking at Gedling in Nottingham. So that was about another 15 minutes away. And the third baby that I was going to be knitting for, we don't know the gender of yet. I think they are finding that out quite soon. Probably before I start knitting the item, we'll know the gender, but because I wanted to buy specific yarn. So what I did was I got this pattern, which I thought, aha, you've got a plain cardigan. I don't know if you can see, you've got a cardigan with cables and a cardigan with lace. It is Wondersoft, no idea, oh, it's Stylecraft Wondersoft, and it's 9902. It's a pattern. And I thought what I'll do is I will just start knitting the back of the cardigan, and then when we know what the gender, I might do cables if it's a boy, lace if it's a girl. And the colour I chose was this, which is kind of like a silvery grey. And I thought that will be feminine enough, masculine enough, it's nice gender neutral. I did buy some sparkly buttons, which are also plain in the sort of like grey. But again, once I know what gender it is, I may put sort of like more girly buttons on and lace if it's a girl. You know, maybe just stick with the neutral buttons if it's a boy or something, I don't know. But I just thought I can make it a little bit more girly or a little bit more masculine, depending. Now it's called Wondersoft Cashmere Feel. It is, but it's 100% acrylic. No, it's not. It's 50% acrylic, 50% polyamide, and is machine washable and tumble dryable as well, which I thought is perfect for new mums and dads. So that was my baby knitting buys. But that's not all. So when we were there, I also was going through the patterns, having a little looky. They'd got a nice range of chunky wool. And I thought, oh, I might just have a quick look at the chunky patterns because it knits up quickly. And I saw this. And I really liked this vest top. I wouldn't do that neckline though. I would just do a shallow neck rather than crew neck or whatever you want to call that, because I don't like things up around my neck like that particularly. So yeah, this is Fusion Chunky, which again is Stylecraft. Now she had got some chunky in a really pretty lilac-y purple. She didn't have enough balls. She had another one that was more pinky. She didn't have enough. So I went with this. This is Shetland Tweed Chunky, and it's a blue, and it's by Woolcraft, and it's 77% acrylic, 20% wool, 3% viscose. It feels really, really soft. I've got 6 balls of this, which should be just about enough to do that, especially if I'm not going to use the do the crew neck bit. So yeah, those were my acquisitions, and none of it was terribly expensive. You know, I think each of the knitting, the baby ones, were probably about £10 to £12, including the, I was going to say including the pattern, but that doesn't count that pattern book. I don't know how much that pattern book was actually, about £10 I think. But yeah, so the yarn and pattern for the 2 where I'm using acrylic was probably about £10 to £12, which if I was going to buy a baby gift for them, I'd probably spend more than that anyway. And then the slip over vest thing, it was £3 a ball, so again about 20 with the pattern, maybe a £21, £22, something like that. So all relatively cheap projects. And I thought I was being pretty good that I bought everything together for a project, so it's not like I just bought a random number of balls of yarn with no idea what I was going to do with it. So, you know, they were bought for specific projects. Let's see how that works out. So after we had visited the 3 shops, we also then decided we didn't decide, we'd already planned we were going to do a little bit of a photo shoot for the Artemis hat. So this was the hat that I test knit for Penny Baker a few weeks ago, and there were 3 of us who had test knit it for her, and so we all brought our hats with us and we went to a lovely little park. I have no idea what the photos of the 3 of us wearing them have come out like, but I have seen some of the photos. We also, you know, took photos just of the hats in different situations, etc. So yeah, we did a little bit of photo shoot, a bit of modelling out there, and which seemed to be fine. And fingers crossed, then Penny will get to use some of those pictures when she's putting that pattern out, which will be soon, I think. Okay, that is it from me really. So the videos that I've got from other people, I'll either have already put that in, or I don't know, it'll be in the podcast somewhere and somehow. Bear with me over the next couple of weeks. It could be 3 weeks that I podcast again because of the yarn shows that I am doing. We are planning on doing, or I am at least planning on doing, another yarn crawl and going to 3 more shops. I really recommend go on to the UK Hand Knitting Association website. I will try and link that in the show notes as well, and just click on their map and see if there are any yarn stores near you. Use this as an excuse though, maybe, to go a little bit further out and go and visit some yarn stores that you've not been to before. Give them a bit of love and support, and yeah, you never know, you might just come across some little gems. I think out of the 3 we went to, the one along Eaton is relatively close by and good stockist of Serdar and things like that. They had got some opal sock yarn. The one furthest one we went to, Gedling, nice shop. Again, they're the same sort of West Yorkshire Spinners, and loads of West Yorkshire Spinner, loads of Serdar. It would be too far really for me to go on a regular basis because there's nothing specific there that I can't get in other stores. But I'd say if you're in that area of Nottingham, it's a good store to go to. The one that was probably the one that we would consider going and doing another trip to maybe would be the yarn Loft, because they had perhaps some nicer yarns that maybe are more difficult to actually see in person in other places. And she'd got like the Lane or Lana books, and she'd got Pom Pom magazine. So yeah, so that would be one maybe I would consider going to again for like a special trip. So planning to do a second visit to 3 yarn shops. That will be I think it's called the Mad Hatter in Belper. That's a very teeny tiny little yarn shop that I have been to before. Again, it's a fairly standard little yarn shop. I wouldn't say it's majorly exciting, but they have got some nice bits in it. Belper is about 15-20 minutes from where I live. Then we will probably go to Cromford Mill. There is a shop there. I cannot remember what it's called. I have been there once before. I think they've got drops in there, and it's not many places in the UK, or around here anyway, where you can actually see drops wool in person. And then we'll probably go on up, we'll go on up to Nibbles, Needles and Hooks, up in Lower Pilsley, where I've been to once before. She's got West Yorkshire Spinner. She has got some hand dyed yarn from Ducky Darlings and not Ducky Darlings, maybe Ducky Darlings and Peak District Yarn. Maybe she might have some from Ann Knit as well. Anyway, she has got some hand dyed yarn there, and she's got a lovely cafe as well. Oh, the one in Belper's got a lovely cafe with it too. The one at Cromford Mill's got a cafe near it as well. So all three of those yarn shops have got cafes either right with them or next to them. So that will be our next next yarn crawl. Right, okay, that's enough from me. So if you've got this far, thank you for sticking with me. Yeah, say hi. And if you're coming to Buxton or Woolwich Junction 13, please come and say hello to me. Let me know you watch the podcast, and that'd be fantastic. It'd be lovely to see you. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Bye.